Good morning, guys. It is April 1st. I just want to first start off the lesson today by saying that I absolutely adored everything you guys posted on Twitter. I'm glad to say that a lot of you had a lot of fun with Battle of the Classes. Some of you are very talented with a video and a phone. It was really, really nice to see. You guys warmed my heart. So I just want to say that. I'm not sure if any of you follow my son. He's on Twitter. He's a sophomore, which sophomores came really close to my seniors, okay, to taking some butt there. But I don't know if anyone realized that when it said to post the most important person in your life, my son, who I cook for every day, who I love, posted his friend Connor. Just leaving it at that. Okay, Giovanna, I love you. Thank you. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we are going to continue solving trigonometric equations, except we're going to kick it up a notch. We are going to use factoring to solve it. So it's not just going to be a one-step or a two-step equation. It's actually going to use your factoring skills. So without further ado, number one, cosine x sine x equals 3 cosine x. Okay? Now you look at this and you're like, what? But think of it this way. Think of cosine and sine as two different variables, okay? Think about it in your head as if cosine was, let's say, A, and sine was B, equals 3, cosine is A. If you had to solve this, you would bring everything to one side, set it equal to 0, and then you would use the greatest common factor of A and factor that out. That's what you're going to do here with words. I'm going to bring cosine to the other side. So it's going to be the cosine x sine x minus 3 cosine x equals 0. I notice that they both share a cosine. It's greatest common factor, so I'll take it out. I'm left with sine x minus 3 equals 0. And just like in factoring, where you'd set both your factors equal to 0, I'd set both these equal to 0. Cosine x equals 0. Sine x minus 3 equals 0. Sine x equals 3. Now this isn't over. You still have to solve for the x, or the variable, or theta, whatever they're looking for. Right now I need to know what angle has a cosine of 0. So I'll go to my little index cards. This one's a quadrantal. I know cosine is your x value. Which angle has a cosine of 0? It's pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. Now, which angle has a sine of 3? Remember what I said in a previous video. Sine and cosine can never be greater than 1. This one, empty set, does not exist. You reject that one. Okay? So these are your two answers. So we use factoring of the greatest common factor. We could also use a quadratic. So let's try this one. Cosine to the 4th power of x plus cosine squared x minus 2 equals 0. Okay, this should look to you, if I took the word cosine out of it, it's this, x to the 4th plus x squared minus 2 equals 0. You're going to factor that by building your parentheses. Since this is to the 4th, you're going to split it to x squared. Okay, this is minus, so one's plus, one's minus. Two numbers that multiply to give you 2, subtract to give you 1 will be 2, that's a bigger one, and 1. That's it in factored form, and then you're going to set them equal to 0. Well, it's the same thing here, except not just x squared, it's cosine x squared. Well, actually, it's cosine squared x. Remember, you don't square the angle, you square the function. And yes, it is a big thing if you write it the wrong way. And just like you would set these equal to 0, you're going to set both of these equal to 0. Subtract 2. Cosine squared x equals negative 2. Okay, guys, this is squared. When you square, you got a square root. Cosine x is equal to the square root of a negative number. Does not exist. So that one is gone. Let's try this one. Cosine squared x equals 1. Square root, square root. Guys, what you need to remember, this is very important. When you square root anything, it's going to be plus and minus. That's going to be important when you're looking for your angles, because now you have a positive value and a negative value, which means you're going to look in all the quadrants for it. Cosine x equals plus or minus 1. Now, this one is a quadrantal, okay? But there's going to be two answers because it's going to be a positive 1 and a negative 1. So x is going to be, you could call this 0 degrees a 2 pi. I like doing 2 pi. And this is pi. Okay, so you have to be careful. Remember, when you square root, it's positive or negative. That's very important. Let's try another one. Okay, we have 2 sine x cosine x equals square root of 2 cosine x. Oh, well, that's not even in the video. There you go. All right, we are going to set everything equal to 0. Let's see, I have two terms here, this one and this one, because it's separated by this sign. What do they have in common? They both have a cosine. Let's factor it out. And let's set them both equal to 0. Okay, here I have a cosine of 0. Again, it's a quadrantal, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't have a full cup of coffee yet. So who has a cosine of 0? Cosine of 0 would be pi over 2, 3 pi over 2. When I go to solve this, I'm left with 2 sine x equals radical 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Sine x equals radical 2 over 2. Don't forget we're dealing with sine. That's positive, so it's here and here. Okay, in quadrant 1, the angle that has a sine of radical 2 over 2 is pi over 4. And in quadrant 2, it is going to be 3 pi over 4. So we have 4 answers for this one. Usually with the quadratics, okay, or with factoring, you're going to have a multitude of answers, more than 1. Okay? Well, that's it. You're just going to keep trying to solve these equations, only you're going to use factoring now. I have your homework questions here. Okay, there are 5 questions. So after you're done watching the video, taking lessons, answer these questions and submit them to me by 9 o'clock tomorrow. Enjoy April Fool's Day. Remember not to do anything foolish. Stay away from each other. Okay, we have to stop this thing. It's getting ridiculous. I'm sure we all know people who, by this point, who have been infected. Unfortunately, I know a few people who have lost people with this already. So it's, it's serious. It's really serious. Okay, I love you guys. I miss you guys. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully soon. One of these days I'll put on makeup and I'll get on the video.